A six-day war between El Salvador and Honduras erupted following the defeat of Honduras by El Salvador in a World Cup qualifying series. In June 1969, El Salvador and Honduras faced off in World Cup qualifiers for the 1970 tournament. The games became incredibly tense and violent, with riots, flag burnings, and assaults on fans from both nations. After the final match, won by El Salvador, diplomatic relations broke down completely. Just days later, on July 14, 1969, El Salvador launched a military attack on Honduras. It turned into a decades-long nightmare of border raids and revenge killings. What started as land and migration conflicts, El Salvador was a small, overpopulated country with limited farmland. Many Salvadorans moved to Honduras, which had more land but fewer people to work and farm. By the late 1960s, about 300,000 Salvadorans were living in Honduras. Then Honduras passed land reform laws, which took land from small farmers, many of whom were Salvadoran immigrants, and gave it back to Hondurans. This caused mass evictions, violence, and resentment between the two populations. The tension over World Cup qualifying matches between El Salvador and Honduras became a generational blood feud that destroyed both countries. Salvadoran and Honduran militias launched constant cross-border raids throughout the 1970s, burning villages and executing civilians if they suspected of supporting the other side. Farmers couldn't tend their fields near the border without risking their lives. Children grew up hearing gunfire every night. The economic destruction was catastrophic. Both countries had closed their shared border, cutting off vital trade routes that had existed for centuries. Salvadoran workers who had migrated to Honduras were permanently banned, creating refugee camps that festered for years. Honduras lost access to Pacific ports through El Salvador, crippling their economy. Entire regions became no-man's lands where only smugglers and guerrillas dared to venture. An estimated 300,000 Salvadorans were displaced, with many forced to flee Honduras. The Organization of American States tried mediating peace talks, but every agreement collapsed when another village got burned or another family got massacred. Honduras became a staging ground for American operations in Central America. The unresolved border dispute was finally settled in 1992 when the World Court awarded approximately two-thirds of the land to Honduras and made the Gulf of Fonseca a shared resource. Despite the 1992 ruling, residual tensions lingered, and disagreements over the ruling's interpretation led to military threats between the two countries as recently as 2013.